comment. A very informative talk, complete vaccine effectiveness. I believe what was nice about your talk in this Amit Sharma, I agree with him because most of the talk I saw so far did not go until vaccination, such as I asked one question to Viola from recently, it's on the channel, I posted her talk and her answer. And she didn't take out the vaccine, but she explained one thing interesting that you seem that you somehow solved, not completely, because the vaccine of your model is a Pfizer, I remember well. She explained that some vaccine protect against the virus, but not protect against spreading. I didn't say, maybe you can talk a little about, I didn't understand if your model took into account the spreading or just the vaccination, because some vaccines protect against just the virus, other vaccines protect against the spreading, according to Viola. Her last name is a little bit complex, I do not remember her last name.
Priestman. No?
What?
Priestman? Viola Priestman?
Yes, I think so. There's a very short...
I can explain this. Can you see the slides now?
Let me share again. Sorry. Now you can.
So I will go back to this model. So indeed, first of all, there are various vaccines that have been approved, at least in Europe. And these vaccines are, for example, Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, Janssen. I think there are 4, right, that have been approved. And they are different vaccines. And what we know from at least from the first information that you get about vaccines, it comes from clinical trials. And in the first clinical trials, what was evaluated, it was like evaluating what is the rate with which people would be hospitalized after vaccination. So you only look at vaccine efficacy against severe disease, hospitalization, and death, for example. And that efficacy is always very, very high. So it's like 90% up, 95%. So if you're vaccinated, it's very low chance actually that you will die from COVID, or also very low chance that you will be hospitalized. The next question was, if what is the chance that you get infected against after being vaccinated? And that chance is much higher, actually. The first clinical trials, they didn't measure it exactly, but the data started to come a bit later, also from the so-called real-world studies. So if you look in our model, for example, we have this vaccine efficacy against susceptibility. So it's the rate at which people susceptible get go to the latent class is beta times lambda, and lambda, this is the force of infection, and beta is the susceptibility of individuals, which is age-dependent susceptibility. And so here is reduced. So if the vaccine efficacy would be 100%, for example, imagine, so all this term is 0. So what happens is that your people, the susceptible people who are vaccinated, they would just never get into the, they would never progress and they would never get infected. And this number is quite variable. It has been already estimated. This what it means, whether the vaccine prevents disease. Preventing disease, it means that from this compartment, you don't almost go here. So you can be vaccinated, you can get infected, but you never develop, you don't go into this box. You would only basically go into the RV box, which is a recovery after the mild disease. So you wouldn't be registered in this compartment. But this number, it means whether the vaccination actually prevents transmission. Because if the efficacy is not 100%, it means that it doesn't overall prevent transmission and infection, because you can progress further. So in our main analysis, what we do is that we assume different values for this vaccine efficacy against susceptibility, and optimistic values, it's used in the main scenarios, it's like 90%, it's very high, because it actually has now been demonstrated that this is also quite high. This number is quite high. And the pessimistic values is something like 50% or 55%. And it's indeed, there is a difference in how the vaccine efficacy, this VES, how it depends on the type of vaccine, whether it's Pfizer or whether it's Janssen. I have not followed recently, like in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I didn't follow exactly what the measured values were or estimated values were, because as I said, in Portugal, when we were doing it, 96% of people, they were getting on the Pfizer vaccine. I think these values are probably lower for AstraZeneca vaccine, but I don't know, because it's not widely used in Portugal. So the efficacy against transmission, it's here, and the efficacy against disease is here. Sorry, efficacy against infection. Yeah. So I hope that's a bit more clear, Georgia, to you. And
Hey guys, I'm passing here very briefly, very fast. I just want to let you know that now you have a second option. I said before I have already created a Patreon, so you can help the channel if you want. But I have also decided to create Buy Me a Coffee, which was a platform that I have found recently. I have done some research. The biggest difference between Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon, the biggest difference that Buy Me a Coffee is a one-way donation. It means that you give like a donation, that's all. That it's just one time. That can be a very nice option. For instance, that you see a video on this channel, or you see an article, anything that you see that you may find useful for free. Then you just buy me a coffee.